There is one other aspect of this story. In trying to figure out why the Austin bomber attacked the people that he did, attacked in the places that he did, Fox News host Geraldo had a theory, and he's getting a lot of criticism for it. Here is him explaining what he thinks.
Because I believe that there is, in the location, in the nexus of these crimes, there is some explanation as to what he was doing. Austin is not only the capital of Texas, it is a dot of deep blue in a state, a sea of red, a very liberal town. There was a lot of attention to this liberal island in the conservative sea that might have had something to do with his choice of targets and the timing of these.
So of course, Fox News viewers needed a safe space after that discussion. Yeah, look, I think that he was very clearly speculating. It looks like the guy who did it was a conservative. Now, but a lot of this stuff was written 7 years ago, and it might have been that he was very conservative, but that's not why he did the bombings. Who knows, right? So we don't know yet. The authorities will tell us. Is it interesting or fair speculation to think, well, he's got a lot of really conservative writings online, and he attacked the most liberal part of Texas? It's fine speculation. You might not agree with it, you might not like it, but it's nothing to get triggered over. It's a perfectly normal hypothesis.
Yeah, but I mean, the comments were, they did not like what Geraldo said. Obviously, they were, as we said, triggered. Yeah, look, I honestly don't know. I think it's possible that there was some sort of political thing. I mean, you have the reason someone wants to commit an attack, and then you have why they choose the targets that they do, which are sort of separate things. We might have some sort of political explanation later on as to why he chose to do the attacks at all. But in terms of attacking around Austin, he lived around Austin, and it seems to me that people typically attack the places that they're around. Like, conservatives are constantly shocked, like, why this shooter went into this school and shot it up. It must have been because it was a gun-free zone. When 9 times out of 10 or more, they went to that school, or they currently go to that school, which seems like a more relevant fact than the fact that it's a gun-free zone. It might simply be that he lived a little bit north of Austin in a suburb, and so he attacked the place around him. It's not always the case. The terrorists that we were just talking about with the mosque and the abortion bombing, they drove quite far to attack different places, but it doesn't seem rare.
Yeah, so as John pointed out, there's tweet after tweet from the right wing who are like, how dare you ever say it might be a conservative? By the way, let's note for the record that those are the same people who scream at the top of their lungs the minute that it's a Muslim name. Wait, no, you gotta say it. You gotta say it's a Muslim name. Name it, name it, name it. Islamic extremist, blah, blah, blah. Now when you say, hey, the guy might have been conservative, oh, how could you? How could you? I'm melting, right? Yeah. So a little bit of balance here. It's what Geraldo did is generally harmless, and I'm gonna give one more piece of context here. Just take one of the tweets here. Jay Richards writes, I'm a little perplexed once again. Geraldo Rivera is saying a white male may have been getting revenge on the city of Austin for being a sanctuary city. What is wrong then with saying an illegal brown male drives drunk and kills an entire family or innocent white person? First of all, I don't think that Geraldo emphasized the whiteness of the person. He emphasized that he was conservative.
Well, mainly there, he just emphasized that the location attacked was liberal. Yeah. He didn't even, it might have been in the longer clip, but he didn't really talk about the guy.
Yeah, and in the beginning, the authorities, not Geraldo, the authorities were concerned that it might have been a hate crime because it targeted the first 3 or 4 bombs, 3 bombs at least, targeted just minorities, and they thought that was disproportionate and curious. They made no conclusions. Later, there were other random bombs that went off that had nothing to do with minorities. But they were concerned that a person might be targeting people for their race.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas when an undocumented immigrant is involved in any tragic situation, including driving drunk and killing someone, there is no one charging that he did it to kill white people. He got drunk and killed somebody because he was drunk driving. There's no intent to go kill white people. So you're bringing race into it for no reason at all. And the fact that they just cannot distinguish that is, I think, telling.
Yeah.
For them, everything is about race, but then they will project and say, oh, I can't believe Geraldo's talking about race, when he didn't mention race at all.
Yeah.
And on the bomber, one last thing here. We mentioned his hypocrisy in the other story about how he was criticizing terrorists, and it turns out he was a terrorist. But he was consistent on one issue. He argued fervently for the death penalty, and then gave himself one. So,
well, he wasn't being hypocritical.
Yeah, that's right. He was consistent on that, and that's about the only thing apparently that we could say positive about him.
Yeah. Anyway, just as I lived in Austin for over 5 years, and the whole time this was going on over the past few weeks, I've been thinking about how awful it must be to live there every moment, terrified of what might happen. And so it's obviously a huge load off their minds and mine as a former resident that finally the situation seems to be resolved.
You just watched the video by the Young Turks, the home of the revolution. If you'd like to get the full show, come join us and become a member. tytnetwork.com/join.